this first episode's really just going to be that backstory. And that backstory was, it started with a knee injury. I ended up in a cancer center. That paved the road to my journey. But I actually ended up making some blogs during all of that, and I kind of want to touch on them too, just to not reopen, old wounds so much, just to kind of touch on the emotion that was going on during that, because again, that's what the whole purpose of this channel really is. It started all in 2021, and to make matters worse, on top of all of this, I was 26 years old when this was going on, so I was very young dealing with this, and not that that's rare, because unfortunately it's not anymore. I've seen and heard of so many younger people finding out they have cancer. Another reason why I'm putting this out here, but I was 26 years old, and to be honest with you, it started, my friend at the time and I were hiking in Shenandoah. I'm a very avid hiker. I love to go outside and explore and reset my mind out in nature. It's just something that's helped me, with my mental health for years now. And the most screwed up part about all of this is the injury happened before even the hike started. So we were preparing for the hike, and I just did an awkward step, and I felt some type of pain in my left knee. And naturally, you sometimes step wrong when you're hiking, so it didn't really bother me too much. Pop some Advil, we carried on our way, and we hiked. There was no swelling. It was kind of like a nagging type pain type, but nothing severe, nothing that I couldn't move, nothing that was like disabling me. Popped the ibuprofen, kept on moving. It's just kind of like that's an army thing. That's what they tell you. Water ibuprofen. Ask any veteran, they'll tell you the same thing. I was sore, for a couple days afterwards, naturally, because, something did happen. I just don't know what it was. I don't know what the hell happened, but it hurt. So I was sore, and the days turned into like a week, and suddenly a week turned into like 2 weeks, and at this point, I'm like dragging my leg at work, so something's not right here. And I decided to get checked out. I got checked out. We got x-rays. There was no breaks, no fractures, nothing like that. Dealing with insurance, anybody should know that it makes any situation more difficult than it should be. So I couldn't get an MRI done until I had 6 weeks of physical therapy. Great, grand, wonderful. Start physical therapy. We started physical therapy, and eventually I found myself on crutches. I ended up in the emergency room. They wanted to take fluid out of my knee. There was no fluid in my knee, so I'm glad I didn't have to do that. Long story short, it was just getting worse and worse, and the weeks were going by. Time was just going by at this time, and nothing was getting better, and nothing was really clicking in my head that something was truly wrong at this point. Doing my best to do whatever I can possibly do. Even when everything became so painful, I was still trying to get my knee to go straight, because at this point my knee's stuck at like a 90-degree angle. It couldn't straighten out. I could barely put any pressure on it. I'm on crutches. I'm waking up in the middle of the night dripping in sweat, just completely saturated in sweat. Waking up in the middle of the night just in agony for no reason. And then eventually, as these weeks are going by, I became sick to the point where I couldn't eat without becoming nauseous or throwing up. Like what I just ate, it would come, nothing, I couldn't keep anything down. Kind of hit me one morning. I remember looking at my now wife and just being like, something's not right. I think I'm sick, and I don't mean like sick. I mean I'm sick. Something's not right. It started to click. And, my injury happened in March of 2021. We're moving into May at this point, and nothing's getting better. I'm actually getting worse. It's not even just my knee at this point. It's moving on to other things. There's other symptoms going on. As I was, weeks have gone by, I did get the MRI. There was no tears, just a lot of inflammation, just a lot of swelling going on. So I've naturally continued PT. We continued the PT, and that's when they told me, hey, listen, nothing's getting better. You should probably get a second opinion. They told me where to go, who to see, and I did it. I went to this place. I called. I was actually in the physical therapy office when I called and set up the appointment. and they walked me through it all. Actually, the first time I had to get my second MRI, I couldn't even make it through it because it was so painful. And just like the drastic change between the first MRI and the second even confirmed with myself that something was going on. At this point, I just wanted to know what it was. No one could give me an answer at this point of what the fuck was going on. Excuse my language, but like seriously. I had people trying to like stick needles on my knee and take fluid out, and I clearly know there's no fluid there. I'm throwing up food. I can barely keep down fluids. I'm living off of boosted, and sure, something's not right. I had to use my PTO time, and eventually the doctor took me out longer while they ordered this second MRI. So as I'm out, per doctor's orders, we're trying to get this second MRI done and see what the hell's going on there. He was able to get a hold of my first one and compare it to the second one. Compared to the first one, whatever was in the first one was now outside of my bone in the second one. Anybody who personally knows me, I grew up in New Jersey. I moved down to Delaware when I got serious with my now wife. I was actually visiting my friends when I got the phone call of the second results, or the results of my second MRI. I actually missed the initial phone call that they made to tell me the news. And I don't know where we were, but we were out. We finally get back. I see that I have a missed call, so I know it's the doctor's office, so I call back, obviously. I'm sitting on my friend's front porch, and I knew it was something bad when she couldn't tell me. She said, I have to wait for the doctor. He's kind of busy right now. I'll call you back in like half hour. I guess he must have been with the patient. Naturally. I'm just waiting. I'm just sitting on the front porch, just waiting at this point, and there's so many things running through my head, like, what could this be? And it never really occurred, like, in that moment that they were going to tell me I had cancer. Like, that never really crossed my mind. It was, for some reason, I didn't think they were connected. Like, I didn't think the pain in my knee was connected to everything else, like the night sweats, the nausea, the not being able to eat, the any of that. I really didn't think that was related. I truly didn't. Especially being 26 years old, I'm not thinking about that type of thing. You don't, when you're that young, it's just natural. You don't think about that type of stuff. You just don't. So, this doctor calls me back, and he tells me straight up that it appears that you have cancer. He was had better bedside manner than that, but eventually, after beating around the bush a little bit, that's what came out. And the only thing that can come out of my mouth was, I'm 26 years old. I was just in complete shock. I remember he's speaking in the background, and how you can minimize your phone call in the background of your phone. I'm texting my best friend. I'm like, I need you right now. And I know she's upstairs, and I'm texting her like, Mayday, SOS, I need you right now. And the doctor's going off in the background saying, I'm going to send you all these resources to your email. I need you to call XYZ. I need you to do this, and I need you to do it fast. Like, this wasn't something you could just wait on. And he told me this, we need to do this as quickly as we possibly can, because whatever was inside your bone is now outside of your bone. And they were kind of telling me from the get-go they thought it was bone cancer. And you don't want to start Googling things when people tell you this, but naturally curiosity is a thing of human nature. So I did. Shit's terrible. It is painful. And any cancer is terrible to begin with, but holy shit. Just to read that after being, told that, hey, all this knee pain you've been dealing with is actually, cancer. And then, I'm sitting on this porch and I'm thinking to myself, holy fuck, I have to tell my parents. I have to go and tell my parents that their oldest child, it could have cancer. And that's why my knee isn't getting any better. And mind you, I just saw them not that long ago. We were talking about my knee and how I was working on it. I was trying to get the second MRI, stuff like that. My parents are in New Jersey, so I'm not far from them at this point. And my friend volunteered to drive me over because it was something I had to do, immediately. I can't say when it's planned, because whoever plans to tell their parents that you have cancer. So, I don't really remember it too much. I just remember we jumped into action as quickly as possible. We called my aunt, texted my aunt, she works at Jefferson in Philadelphia. So she was able to point us in the right direction and get us into Fox Chase. and that's where I ended up being treated for my cancer. But we got in as quickly as humanly possible because I didn't have the time, and people kept stressing this to me, and it never really hit me until after all the treatment how much time I truly did not have, if that makes any sense, during this time period. We got the appointment for Fox Chase. It was about a week after I got that phone call, maybe 2 weeks. I feel like it was a lot sooner than that. I couldn't really tell you. I can't remember the specific dates. I just know it was fast. And I know after I told my parents, I ended up, like, that night, never went back home to Delaware. I had to call my fiance and tell her I had cancer over the phone. I moved all my stuff. I had my dog with me during this visit, so we moved everything over to my parents' house, and I basically just bunkered down until I had to be seen in Philadelphia. And where I lived in Delaware was like 2 hours from the location, and where I was at my parents was about 45. So naturally, it just made more sense to stay where I was and to get this taken care of. So, I mean, yeah, that's what I did after I told them. I basically just came on over, and my parents got to see firsthand how sick I truly was that from the first night. From the first night, my mom saw how bad it was, and I'm just grateful that we were able to get into Fox Chase when I did, because I was just wasting away at this point. I was, sorry, yeah, it was rough. Time goes by, and I find myself in Fox Chase Cancer Center with my mom. At this point, I'm literally surviving off of Boost and Ensure. That's and Jello. I'm pretty sure Jello was like the only thing I could really eat. Occasionally soup if I was lucky, but I'd be lucky if I could keep that down. But I remember being in Fox Chase the very first time with my mom next to me, and we were waiting at this point. We're just waiting to see the doctor. My whole body just ached. Everything, every ounce of my being just hurt. Physically, mentally, emotionally. There were so many things going through my head. You know, I was set to get married this year. Well, at the end of 2021, it's June. At this point, I was set to get married in October. So obviously, we don't even know. That's just up in the air. Life, everything. When you get told these type of things, your entire life gets put on the back burner. Everything is just paused, because your main focus right now is to figure out what the hell is going on and how the hell do we fix it. So, you know, I'm sitting in this waiting room with my mom, and I'm just rocking in pain, agony. I can't get comfortable. We finally go back to see the doctor. He looks at my MRI, and like within a minute, he can tell me it's not bone cancer. All right, cool, but then why am I here? You know, I'm not off the hook just yet. He tells me he thinks it's lymphoma. At the time of my appointment, one of the best lymphoma doctors in like the nation was next door. I don't think she was scheduled to be in this day, so it was there's no such thing as coincidence. That's all I'm going to say on that. So he runs over and gets her, and at this time, I don't know what the hell happened, but I am overcome with just so much pain. You know, my stomach is so torn up at this point between popping Advil to try to keep the pain down, because I haven't been prescribed any type of painkillers during all of this. I've just been popping Advil, so imagine the wear and tear on my stomach at this point, on top of not being able to eat to really get it to soak into anything, so it's going straight into my stomach line. I'm in pain with my stomach, I'm in pain all over my body, my fever starts spiking, I'm sweating like profusely, and then now I'm throwing up. So, and all of a sudden there's 6 nurses in front of me, and I'm being thrown onto a stretcher. I meet my doctor for the first time during all of this, and she comes in, she looks at me, takes one look at my knee, and apparently at this point I have another, like, something's popping out of my neck, I guess. Yeah. So, you know, she grabs my hand and she tells me there's something wrong, but we're gonna figure it out. And just like that, they put a IV into my arm, and they admit me. I didn't go home my first appointment at Fox Chase. I immediately got admitted, and they started testing. So they rushed me in, and that night they were doing all the testing. They did a biopsy on the lump that was on my neck, and within that stay, I was there for 5 days. That one visit turned into a 5-day stay, and within that 5 days, they put a bag of chemo in me, because it was just, they knew I had cancer. They knew I had lymphoma. They just didn't know what type of lymphoma I had. So it was confirmed on the very first time I walked through the doors of Fox Chase that I had cancer. It was closure for me, that we were moving in the right direction. I didn't have to go somewhere else. I could stay right here and we could focus on getting better. And I hate doctors to touch into all this. I hate needles. I hate hospitals. I hate this situation, man. Anxiety. I have terrible anxiety. I have terrible depression, PTSD before all of this. So this just added to it all. Which is another reason why I'm kind of doing this, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be in that position. I know what it's like not to have people to relate to. So, I don't want other people to feel like that. So if this is what I have to do to help somebody, anybody, even if it's just one person, that makes them feel better, I feel accomplished. I'm not trying to get big here. I just want to help people. I want to help people the way I needed somebody during all of this. That's why this is going to be more than just one video. This is going to be multiple videos, and we're going to dive into some things. I just basically want you to know that what you're feeling is valid. It's not unusual. It's not normal. All of it is normal. And this is going to be like that reassurance safety net that everything is going to be okay. So, now that we kind of got the whole background of how I got to the point of needing, chemotherapy, I just want everybody to stick with me, bear with me. So I got a lot to share. I went through treatment between June and September of 2021. That was the active months of treatment, and we're going to touch on all of that. We're going to touch on what happened, how I was feeling, why I was feeling it, all of that, because I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one, and it needs to be talked about more, and people need to know that it is okay to feel how you're feeling, given the circumstances. Like, not everybody can relate to this situation. It's just the facts of life. Not everybody's going to find themselves in a life-altering situation like this. So what do you do? What do you do when people don't talk about it, when people don't go through this every day? You find a community that has. You find people you can confide in, that you can trust, that you can learn from. You build your village. That is something I have learned over the years with dealing with mental health and working through it all. And it's an everyday process that you're constantly working on. And my goal here is to hopefully help people make that process a little bit easier. Okay, so I know I'm not perfect. I know I got things I got to work on. And, maybe this may even help me work through some of the things I got to work on myself. So not only is this for my viewers, this is also for myself. This is my own personal virtual journal. I'm putting myself out there. I'm making myself vulnerable for the good of the people, I guess, for the good of humanity, just to put, there's too much negativity in the world, and I want to try to pick people up where I can. And it's a very dark time in your life. It's a very dark chapter, and I don't need people to be feeling any lower than they already do. But that being said, just the tip of the iceberg here. We're just getting started. I encourage you to come back and figure out what else I have to say, because again, we're not only going to be telling you my story, we're going to be working through all of the emotions that go along with it, and also how you can apply a situation that is so life-altering to the other side, because it's possible. Another thing that people don't talk about is people act like cancer is a death sentence, and it's not. It's, put it to you this way, I had one of the most aggressive cancers you can possibly have, and I'm sitting right in front of you right now talking about it. I'm not saying, it's going to happen every single time. What I'm trying to say and stress is that it's totally possible, and that we need to stop, automatically putting cancer and making people feel like as soon as you get diagnosed with something like that, you're going to die. You're not, because it's more so about the mindset, and it's more so about you. It's about your drive. It's about how badly you want something, and that can apply to anywhere without cancer, anywhere in your life. It doesn't have to be just cancer. How badly you truly want something, that's all on you. That is the one thing we can control, and that's how hard we go after something, how passionate we are about something, what our drive is. And I was very driven and passionate about making it to the other side, because I was 26 years old. I had so much life left to live, and here I am. I'm living my damn life, and it's so fulfilling to to do that, to set a goal and to make that goal and go beyond it. You know, I've surpassed all the things I set back in 2021 when I was sick. I surpassed them, and I couldn't be more proud of myself. But that's what I'm trying to say. It's possible. It is not a complete death sentence, and I'm so sorry if you're feeling that way, but I want you to know, and I want you to come back here, because I'm talking to you. I am directly talking to you, and we're going to figure this all out. If you have any questions, you know, any personal questions you want to know, please ask me. Comment. I will try to get to as many questions as I possibly can. And if there's anything you personally want to know, again, let me know, and I'll touch into it. I'll try my best. I do have another podcast on the side, or another channel rather, that's not as serious as this. It's more so, you know, it's more so humor and comedy and stuff like that. So I kind of got both sides going on YouTube. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody for checking me out. Stick with me, because I got so much more to share. And again, don't ever feel like that this is a complete death sentence, because it's not. Anything, depression, anxiety, cancer, addiction, nothing is set in stone. Alright, so we're going to figure this all out. Stay tuned.